Hello everyone, welcome to TechLearn. In this session, let's discuss few more questions that are discussed in Java interviews. This is in continuation to our previous session. So let's get started. 1. What is deadlock state in threads? In case, if there are two threads, say, thread 1 and thread 2, once if thread 1 acquires lock of an object 1 and thread 2 acquires lock of an object 2, and these two threads are not releasing both the resources or objects, each thread is waiting for other thread to release lock. This state is known as deadlock. Let's go through some important points about deadlock. Every object owns a built-in lock which will be necessary for threads to take ownership of that particular object. Lock is mutually exclusive, which means that only one thread can acquire it and other threads have to wait for their turn until first thread release it. The lock will be blocked when it is already acquired by a thread and will be unblocked when the thread releases the lock. A single thread can acquire multiple lock or objects. Lock is re-entrant, which means that same thread can acquire the same lock multiple times. 2. Object level lock and class level lock. Object level lock, it is also called as instance lock. When we enter a non-static synchronized code, then JVM acquires instance level lock on the object whose method is executing. The syntax of object level lock is as shown below. Next is class level lock. It is a lock acquired over java.lang.class of an object and is used to protect static methods of that class. Two ways of acquiring such lock are: one is by using static synchronized method. Another way is by using block-level synchronization over object.get class method. The syntax of object-level lock is as shown below. Our next question is differentiate exception and error. An exception occurs in the code written by the developers, whereas an error occurs due to the lack of system resources. An exception is recoverable, whereas an error is irrecoverable. An exception occurs at runtime as well as at compile time, whereas an error occurs at runtime. Exceptions are unchecked and checked type, whereas errors are unchecked type. Exception belongs to java.lang.exception package, whereas error belongs to java.lang.error package. 4. What is singleton class? It is a class that controls the object creation. It means singleton class allows us to create a single object of the class at a time. It is usually used to control access to resources, such as database connections or sockets. It ensures that only one connection is made and only single thread can access the connection at a time. The advantage of the singleton is, suppose, if several developers have the same requirement and it is not recommended to create a separate object for every requirement, then they can create a single object and can reuse it so that performance and memory utilization will not be affected. The next question is, which will take more memory, either an int or integer? Answer is, integer will consume more memory as it is an object and it stores metadata. Int will consume less space as it is of primitive type. 6. What is an infinite loop? An infinite loop is a loop that occurs when a condition always evaluates to true. Generally, this will be considered as an error. The syntax of infinite loop in case of while, for and do while loop are as shown below. 7. Difference between hashmap and concurrent hashmap. Hashmap is not synchronized, whereas concurrent hashmap is synchronized. Hashmap is not thread safe, whereas concurrent hashmap is thread safe. Hashmap is fail fast and throws concurrent modification exception if concurrent modification happens during iteration, whereas concurrent hashmap is fail safe and never throws concurrent modification exception during iteration. Hashmap is faster when compared to concurrent hashmap, whereas concurrent hashmap is slower than hashmap. Hashmap is introduced in Java 1.2, whereas concurrent hashmap is introduced in Java 1.5. The next question is, how to prevent method overriding in Java inheritance. By using final, static and private keyword in the methods, we can prevent the subclasses from overriding the members of parent class. 9. What are generics in Java? Java generics allows the programmer to create a single class, interface and method that can be used with different types of data. Here are some advantages of generics. 1 is type safety can be achieved. Then exception of data type casting will occur at compile time, so that it can be identified and resolved before running the program. Another advantage is using of generics is very useful while dealing with collections. The syntax of generics in class, method and collection are as shown below. Few more important points about generics are: 1. Generics will allow only wrapper classes such as integer, float, double. 2. We can provide one or more parameters to the generic methods, separated by comma. 3. All generic method declarations have a type parameter section delimited by angle brackets. Our last question is: differentiate between fail-fast and fail-safe iterators. Fail-fast iterator throws concurrent modification exception when one thread is iterating over collection object and other threads structurally modify the collection either by adding, removing or modifying objects on underlying collection, whereas fail-safe iterator doesn't throw any exception if collection is modified structurally while one thread is iterating over it. Fail-fast iterator is called so because it tries to immediately throw exception when they encounter failure, whereas fail-safe iterator called fail-safe because it works on clone of collection instead of original collection. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe TechLearn for more such videos.